Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakwadash. Yahweh being the name of the Father, who people ignorantly call God. Yahweh Shai is his son, who people ignorantly call Jesus. Bahashem Rakakwadash. That's in the name of the Holy Spirit. That's where we get our revelation, our knowledge, our wisdom, and understanding. Peace and blessings to you, Akim, out there that's constantly fighting this good fight of faith, Lord will to the end. And double honors to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone who taught us His truth. And Lord will us lesson be edifying to the hopeful elect, as well as condemning to the wicked. Going in today on heavy is the head that wears the crown. And that comes from a quote from Henry IV. It's part 2 by William Shakespeare. So this is one of his quotes. And I just thought it was, one of them things I've heard over the years, but I heard it somewhere. I want to say I heard it on. It was either the series David, and I think that's where I saw that. I think it was in the series David. So it was either that or I believe it was that. But don't quote me on it. But anyway, yeah, that's one of those things. Ultimately, that's Yahweh Shai though too. Because he has a great responsibility that he has, but also that he's had. To the point where he gave his life for us. So we in this walk. We Lord will to soon, Lord will to be kings and priests. So what we go through, it's almost like we can't complain about it. It's basically it's just part of wearing that crown. Lord will. It's part of the fight that we have to go through. That's part of us girding up our loins as men. Being soldiers in this battle that we are part of. It's like your father don't get recognition. If you're a father, a father that doesn't get really recognized. By doing everything that he does, because really ultimately that's what we're supposed to do. We in a land now where fathers are not seen, are not in the household, and so it's almost like it's unordinary to see a father in a household. But to get back to the point, being a father, being the king of your home, it's not going to be you're not going to get all the hoopla and the standing ovation. So this is just part of who we are as being placed through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai as men in this walk that we are part of. And just really take it on, with your, draped with that full armor, knowing that, hey, this is part of the battle. So I'm just going to bring out these few scriptures, and Lord will this lesson be edifying to the hopeful elect. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, and starting at verse 5. It says, horribly and speedily shall he come upon you, for a sharp judgment shall be to them that be in high places. It's major judgment for those that are in this truth, man. If we can't, it's almost like you can't make mistakes. We know we are. Scriptures speak about righteous man fall 7 times. We know we're going to do things that's not going to be on the up and up all the time. But we have to put our best foot forward in this. We have to always strive, for our, to do the best. And that's all we could do. We put our best foot forward. But it's a judgment. Like you said, it says judgment shall be to them that be in high places. Those of us that's in this truth, those are the hopeful elect. It's a major judgment that comes upon us, because you got to think about it. Leading the lambs, the sheep. He said, feed my lambs. And this is part of it, you know, whether it be doing lessons, whether it be, being out there on the highways and hedges, being a help, giving alms, whatever your part to play in this truth, we have to see it as such and know that, hey, that's our duty. All right, that's our duty, and this is what we're here to do. Verse 6, it says, "For mercy will soon pardon the meanest." So you got 2/3 out here. You like, damn, they constantly getting a break. They don't seem to catch hell like we catch hell, and that's a part of it. They catching different type of hell. Jake almost make his hell. Jake do shit. He could have a pocket full of money, and he's still doing shit that could be avoided. I just seen an example of that today. I was watching, I think it was just on YouTube, where old boy Boosie, he got pulled over. He was like, he saw the cops coming before they even turned on the light, and he said, "Man, I hope he said, if they pull me over, I'm cussing them out and I'm gonna go off on them." And sure enough, they pulled him over, and Jake started going off, and the cop like, "Hey man, hold on," and he going all off. And come to find out, he's like, "Man, I wasn't speeding. And the cop's like, "Hey man, chill, man. I'm not even like that." And he's like, "Relax, man." And it was another Jake too. That was a cop that pulled him over. But long story short, basically Jake, they put him over for his windows being tinted too dark. And the cop was cool with him. He was like, "Man, I understand why you're doing it, because this cop pulled him over before. So, he's like, I understand. I know who you are. So I understand why you got your tint like this." But the point is, Jake just went off, all emotional, going off. But at the end, he did say, he was cool. But you just, in this walk, man, we got to understand that, hey, that it ain't about uh, getting all emotional. But verse 6, it says, "For mercy will soon pardon the meanest." So you got, hey, they get a break, But even in our hell, we still got to move, wise out here. We still got to be uh, wise as serpent and harmless as doves. It says, "But mighty men shall be mightily tormented." Whether that be a torment in your flesh, in your mind, having, it's something that, this is a spiritual battle that we're a part of, that they don't even, 2/3 of our people don't even consider. They don't, really see that. We see it. We see everything with a spiritual eye. So we out here, we going, throughout our everyday life, and you see all kind of shit that goes on, and you're like, man, that's Satan. It's a lot of things that's going on that's is spiritual. And then you gotta constantly uh, fight your own flesh, your own mind, your own thoughts. So this is a battle that we're a part of. That 2/3 they just gave over to the flesh. They just, because it's easier. We get it. It's easier just to roll over and just go with the flow. Eat what you want to eat. Go where you want to go. Do what you want to do. This lifestyle is basically the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shem Shai, is making it where we have to live a disciplined lifestyle. I think I just heard the elder say that too. One of the elder say that, hey, we got to live a disciplined lifestyle. It's like everything, that's why we keep things to a minimum. We're not trying to make our lives too much. Just keep it real simple, have a routine in overall, and just, move like that. Let me get this next one. This is, oh, dang. This is James chapter 3. James chapter 3 and verse 1, it says, "My brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we shall receive the greater condemnation." So this battle that we are part of, man, we're going to receive, the blunt end of it at a times. I'm going to read this in the NLT. It says, "Dear brothers and sisters, not many of you should become teachers in the church, for we who teach will be judged more strictly." And that's part of it, man. You got to really count the cost in this. What we teaching is really, it's of course life changing, but then also knowing that our life is on the line because of it. We not just out here, singing kumbaya and telling, can we all get along kind of shit. No, we telling the devil who the devil is, and we bringing it out. We calling Esau Edom, the so-called white man, the Amalek. We calling them, to the forefront. We letting them know what's their future. That you're gonna be a slave in the kingdom to come. All right, we telling you of your past, of what you've done to the so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. We calling that to the forefront. We not allowing it just to be put up under uh, the rug, like the majority of our people do. They want to say, can we all get along? They let Esau in. Esau way in the fucking back of the line. They want to get this nigga a front seat. They want to live hand in hand with this damn devil who's your enemy. And we calling them out, as well as calling 2/3 of our people out. That's what, those who wear the crown, that's what they do. They call out the bullshit, regardless of, what comes along with it, whether it be, scoffers, or whether that be even your own life taking. Because best believe, speaking up, you know, uh, for righteousness and against wickedness, there's there's a price to pay for that, and the price ultimately could be our life. So really counting the cost in this walk. There's another saying that I'm gonna read, and it says, "Don't chase the crown unless you're ready to carry the weight that comes with it." And I was looking up some things on AI. That's where I got this quote from, and it said that quote. So it's just like, man, we really have to count the cost in this walk. Really forsake all. Really, just look at Yahweh Shai, and just know that, hey, he carried his cross. We're gonna have to carry ours. Not in the literal sense, but in the sense of whatever comes along with this truth. And really, ultimately, that's being willing to sacrifice our life if it comes down to it. This is Luke chapter 12 and verse 48. "But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more." So, we can't think it's strange when, your child, they constantly coming back and asking you for this and that. Same with this truth. You get, whether it be asked questions or, you're required to constantly push out lessons, to hopefully edify those of the hopeful elect out there. Hey, this is part of the battle. This is the part where it says, whom much is given. You don't want to give up your spot. And if you do, then move over to the left and let somebody else come and take the spot. If you're not willing to make it, if you're not willing to sacrifice all, because it was that saying says, basically a weak link. We don't want to be that weak link in this, because eventually that link going to break, and then it affects all the other links. So we are hoping, man, that we are that we are a strong link, all put together, man, and that, let's say, I'm just paraphrasing, like a two bond is strong. Matter of fact, let me get it. This is Ecclesiastes 4:12. "And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken." So when we come together, man, it's like the stronger we are, when we unite together and are not being a weakling, So it's power in that. Just like the fist, when it all comes together, you got that five. That's why, the five is considered power. You got that fist, man. It's power in that. You want me clenched together, but one on his own, you try to do something with it unless you've been doing some crazy type of exercise. But you usually just using one finger or two fingers. It's not as strong as when you use all five together. So the same as it is with us. What Scripture say about being many members but one body. We all come together, man. That's why one of my favorites is I think it's Voltron. The Lions, where they all come together. And that's how it is for us in its truth. I'm going to get this last one and I'm going to close it. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 18. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increases knowledge increases sorrow. So best believe the more knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that we receive in this truth, the more and more that we are understanding this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures. Hey, it's what comes with it. This comes with that crown, of being you're the head of your household in a sense. They coming to you. The same with this truth. It's a small remnant of us that's out here on the highways and hedges that's teaching this truth. But this is part of it. That's part of the battle that we have to, swallow. You still gotta, you got your own quote unquote personal life. You gotta still be the head of your household, or even if you ain't got no children, you still gotta, take care and maintain your own premises. And then, whether you got work, so if you managing at work or doing something, because majority brothers, you got leadership in them. So having that type of leadership, it rolls over into work, because that's who Yahweh Shem Shah, he's basically he upgraded us, and people see that. People see your diligence. People see your consistency. People see your attention to detail. People see that leadership quality inside of you, so that they like, man, this person, and they try to pull you, and they gonna pull you in. But so you got that, and then you got your home, then you got this truth. So it's a lot that comes along with it. But what Scripture say, he that endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And much is given, much is required. So, hey, Lord willing, Yahweh Shem Shah continue to give us the grace to endure and to fight the good fight of faith, Lord will, to the end. The Lord will, this is edifying to the hopeful elect out there. And with that, all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to you, Akim, out there fighting this good fight of faith. Lord will, to the end. Till next time, Lord will. Shalom.